Hello and welcome there cool people, this is Lord Grid speaking. How do I even begin? Wizardry 8 is a game that I love so much that I have spent almost over 400 hours playing it. So I decided that this game needs some extra exposure from people. So I decided that I will record it for you on the hardest difficulty possible to see how challenging and great this game is. In this first episode, we will tackle character creation, so if you are not into that, feel free to skip this video. While I have decided what kind of party I want, I'll go through every single character and every single race and explain what they're good at and what's the best they can do. So, let's begin. You can see I have already quite a lot of pre-made characters because I have finished this game so many times. But this time I will create another contingent of completely new characters. So, professions. Fighter. Fighter, in my opinion, is a great profession, and before I continue, let me please explain why I'm doing this. Character creation in Wizardry 8 is one of the greatest things about Wizardry 8, one of them, not the best thing. And if I don't explain everything about character creation, I feel I'm not doing this game justice. And for those people that have never played Wizardry 8, there's this thing that this game doesn't hold your hand, and it's not exactly a good thing because nowadays there are no manuals, and all the old forum posts explaining things, they are mostly gone, except for people that have like Jeff Zimlab and Jeff Ludwig have revived some of these things and made some homemade wikis. So I feel I have to explain everything. So let's continue to where I began. So Fighter. In my opinion, Fighter is a great class, especially good for beginners because it's extremely easy to play. It's extremely good throughout the whole game. The only drawback to Fighter, in my honest opinion, is that in late game he kills people a little bit too slowly. He kills them still pretty fast, but he does it more slowly than he, for example, does it in early and mid game. And sorry, my throat is a bit sore. Since he kills people pretty fast compared to average other classes, he gives them less time to train. But in overall, Fighter is simply a great class. If you're a beginner in this game, I highly recommend picking at least one Fighter and seeing for yourself. Lord. Lord is, in public's opinion, one of the worst classes in Wizardry, and I'm quite inclined to agree. Because Lord is nothing special. He's like War's Valkyrie, and let's just state that dual weapon skill bonus and health regeneration never becomes better. It's just 1.5 points per turn. So it's quite great at early game, but it falls off very fast. And that dual weapon skill bonus, so while it's nice, the thing with hybrid classes, with some of them you want to focus on spell casting, and same is with Lord, you want to focus on spells, so the dual weapons skill bonus never really comes into play that much. Valkyrie. Valkyrie is, in my honest opinion, better Lord, because she gets everything Lord gets, but she also gets polearm skill bonus. That means that when she heals somebody and is like turned on different facing, she cannot be hurt because you can put people in front of her and she can still attack. In this game it's very important where your party is facing, And for example, if your party member is facing with back against enemy gets a massive damage bonus and to hit bonus to your party member. And if for example you heal with Lord and your back is turned because you healed a backline member, all of a sudden you can find out that your Lord is being hit by a bazillion damage and that heal was not worth it. Quite different with Valkyrie. And even if it happens that your Valkyrie is hurt really bad, she can cheat that. And this happens very, very often. This is amazing ability, one of the best abilities in the game. So I highly recommend Valkyries for everyone that wants to start playing the game. Also, you can just not pick one because you will get one Valkyrie later. We will see that later. Ranger. Well, Ranger is one of those super duper beginner classes because he has the abilities to search all the time. Just because of this ability, it is worth to pick Ranger because it saves so much time, so much bullshit, if you can say so. Because for people that don't know, if you search, you encounter a group of monsters. You can manually search. If you encounter a group of monsters, they can surprise you if you're in searching mode. Also, the good thing I think about Ranger, I haven't found anywhere to confirm it, but this searches all the time scouting skill that he has. It doesn't let you find things better. What lets you find things better is senses. What this scouting skill does is make the radius where you search automatically bigger. Like bigger circle around your party where you automatically search. So since you're pumping senses into your Ranger anyway, and the circle is getting bigger, it's quite hard to actually miss items with Ranger in your party. Also, Rangers, in some people's opinions, they are good at everything. I am not inclined to agree, because if, for example, you start with melee, your range falls behind, and that's one of the big things about Ranger, is that he gets ranged criticals and ranged combat skill bonuses, so you really want Ranger to be attacking from range all the time. Because late game, the main damage from Ranger will be these ranged criticals, and what that means, he can insta-kill opponents. So, onwards we go. Samurai. Samurai is kind of mixed feelings for me, because when I first played Samurai, I think I kinda built him very bad, and he didn't turn out very good for me. But I think Samurai is very good class because he has Lightning Strike, which lets him sometimes attack up to 5 times a turn. He's fearless, very useful, sword skill bonus, and swords are the best weapons in the game, so he gets a massive bonus to be the best weapons of the game. And also in profession skills he gets critical strikes, that means he can insta-kill opponents, and it goes very nice with Lightning Strike. And the fact that you are usually dual wielding your weapons and he gets dual weapons. So there are some people that are very fanboyish about Samurai. For me, Samurai is just a good class, and if you are a beginner, Samurai is actually a very good try. But I would read about how to build your Samurai, because in this playthrough I'm going to pick a Samurai, but I'm going to build it differently than most people would build it. Ninja. Well, Ninja is something of a ranged complex that it is kind of jack of all trades, it can do everything, but it is not great at anything. And let me explain. For example, Thrown criticals and Thrown auto-penetrate, very great skills, but the issue with this is that there are very few thrown weapons in the game, so eventually you are running out. Critical strike skill bonus is nice, but getting to those 12.5% insta-kill chance takes massive amount of time, because how classes are balanced in the game is there are specialists, elites, etc. And Ninja is one of those elite classes, and what does it mean? It means that they get experience multiplier to level up. So for example, if you had Fighter, he would by the endgame be 2 to up to 4 levels higher than your ninja, and and that would actually mean that your ninja would be behind. And while not necessarily a very bad thing, it's not a very good thing either, because levels play a massive role in this game, especially since monster level is determined by the highest level of your party members. So ninja lagging behind in a party where, for example, you have gadgeteer or fighter or rogue or some of those classes, it's just not a very nice feeling. And also, since I said that ninja is not very special, at least since the beginning, ninja is one of those super late game classes. I would not recommend ninjas to new players, and not even to players that can't find a place for ninja in their party. Ninja is very specialized. If you have game plan for ninja, you can take ninja, but if you don't, you should not take ninja. Monk. Well, monk is one of those super overpowered classes in the wizardry, because martial arts basically means you don't have to invest any money in it. He just fights with his bare hands and fists, and he is effectively dual wielding. You don't have to pump any skills. Also, he gets natural damage resistance, which is 10%. Very nice. Even if he doesn't get as many hit points as the dedicated fighting classes, he can still tank damage. Effective while blind. There are many opponents that give very nasty blind effects, and being blind basically means that you cannot hit anything at all. If you hit something while blind, it's like, thank you, God, for bringing this blessing upon us. What do you require for me to sacrifice? Monk, in short, is a very good beginner class. He also gets, since he's a hybrid class, he also gets spells. You can try out psionic spells. In my opinion, psionic spells are very good, especially the late game ones, but Monk is not very good at late game psionic spells because he requires many levels to get there. The thing about hybrid classes like Monk, Ranger, that also get spells to their class bonuses. As their class bonuses, they also get spellcasting. For example, the fighter can get spellcasting. The thing about them is that they also get that nasty experience multiplier, so they are harder to level. And also they get these spells after 5th level, so they are, in essential, they are always behind dedicated spellcasters. And usually since you have to invest in other skills in hybrid classes so they could excel, for example, either excel in spellcasting or excel in close or ranged combat. The spellcasting is like nice bonus, but not really that good if you don't focus on spellcasting. Rogue. Well, Rogue by far is the highest single damage dealer in the game. He's not as tanky as fighter, but that's not so bad. He gets random chances to backstab, and by random chances to backstab I mean if your weapon has thrusting attack, he can backstab for up to 4 times the damage, but up to, he doesn't get 4 times the damage all the time. It's this damage multiplier is determined at random, like rolling a dice. So fighter always gets the chance to berserk and gets 2 times the damage at 2 hit penalty, which is very nice. It gives consistent damage, but Rogue can get up to 4 times, as I said. So Rogues, because of this, are the single highest damage dealing class, single target damage dealing class in the game. They also get obviously thieving skills, but many people prefer to take their thieving skills on other classes. While I think Rogue levels up his fighting skills fast enough that I usually take thieving skills if I am playing Rogue. All in all, I think Rogue is a very great class, especially good for beginners, so if you're a beginner, feel free to pick a Rogue for some locks and traps, because locks and traps is a very important skill to have. Even if you get a spell, that lets you open locks and traps. You still need some locks and traps skill because of things like 8 picks you have to pick. The knock pick skill rarely picks all 8 picks, so it's very nice to have locks and traps skill. Gadgeteer. Now, Gadgeteer is very closely tied to Bard class, so I'm speaking about them both in this instance. Both Gadgeteer and Bard have this special thing that they can use instruments or gadgets, in Gadgeteer's case, that they can cast free spells by using their stamina. You will see what stamina does later in the next episode. Basically, this is very, very great, but this stamina cost is also very, very great, very big. So you cannot cast too many of these free spells per combat. But also, what's so great about these free spells is... Sorry, I lost my thoughts there, but anyway, Gadgeteer and Bard are very good beginner classes because they get these free spells. Gadgeteer not so much, because you kind of have to look up the wikis, because Bard can find his instruments to play and they are very, very straightforward. Gadgeteer, well, he's a little bit stronger than Bard. You have to make his instruments, his gadgets, and they are not always straightforward how to make them. They're kind of goofy, so you have to... At least in my case, I couldn't figure out how to make those gadgets. I had to look up wikis online. Shout out to the site jefflodvig.com. Very, very nice site for Wizardry 8. Also, Gadgeteer gets modern weapon skill bonus, and this is one of the 2 classes I consider to actually wield modern weapons. The second being Ranger. You will see later why. Also, Gadgeteer gets locks and traps. In case you don't want to pick a rogue for locks and traps, you can always use Gadgeteer. So Bard, we already covered Bard. Bard also gets the improves party camping, which is actually quite noticeable. It means you can sleep faster. And he gets communication skill bonus, which is very, very minor thing, because what mostly communications do for you, they increase prices in shops. That's most you are going to get out of your communication. Also, mythology artifacts, in all Bard is like that utility class you pick for utility. Also very, very good for beginners, so if you're a beginner, I would personally recommend you pick Bards. Very fun to play. Priest. Well, Priest is kind of a mixed bag of feelings for me, because priest spells are very, very useful, but you can also get priest spells from hybrid classes, and for hybrids you still want to go for priest spells first. So priest kind of doesn't fit in Wizardry 8, because there are things that can do priest stuff anyway. Almost every class except wizard can cast heal wounds. And pray for miracle and dispel undead. These are kind of the things for priest that you cast because you just don't have anything else to do. You pray for miracle because you just don't have anything else to do with a priest in your turn, and you dispel undead because it's simply dispel undead. It's one of the best ways to deal with undead. The divinity skill bonus is kind of like, I can live without it. Mason Flail is kind of nice because, unlike other dedicated spellcasting classes, Priest is a little bit tankier, so if you wish, you can put him into kind of frontline role. But now thinking back about it, when I first played Wizardry, I picked Priest. It was very nice, at least for me then. Now I don't think so. So if you're a beginner, you can pick this class, but I would advise against it. Alchemist. Well, alchemy spells are one of the best spells in the game. Also, the makes potions while camping is very, very useful in certain situations, because he makes the strongest potion he can make according to his alchemy skill. Also, he gets throwing and sling, and that's one of the main weapons you are going to use with your spellcaster, so Alchemist is very very good from the get-go. He gets intelligence and dexterity bonus, which is needed for alchemy. Also, the great thing about Alchemist is that he gets one of the two, no, not one of the two, but two of the most important priest spells. One of them is Heal Wounds, and that's the Resurrection. So Alchemists can be kind of like jack of all trades of all your spellcasters if you decide that you want a spellcaster. Pick more spellcasters in this game. Like, you know, Alchemist doesn't sound like much, but he actually does very good things. Also, if any of your characters have alchemy skill, like Ranger, Ninja, or in this case Alchemist, they can mix potions, and mixing potions can earn you a lot of money. And not only that, sorry, lost my train of thought there. Not only that, but alchemy spells can be cast even if your spellcaster is silenced. It's actually mentioned here. Let me find it. You can actually click on the profession description, so it's right click. Yeah, since alchemists rely on powders, potions and gestures rather than magic words, they can still cast spells when silenced. This is actually a very huge bonus for spellcasting classes. It's not mentioned here, but all alchemists can mix potions and all alchemists can cast spells when silenced. Very useful. Bishop, well, Bishop is, let's say, it's one of the other two elite classes. I would say that if you go, same with Ninja, if you go with game plan, you can pick Bishop. Why so? Because Bishop has the unique advantage that he has every single magic school into him. He also gets a bonus to remove cursed items, but you can learn spell for that, that's not very important. Artifact skill bonus is kind of like meh, because you can learn how to identify items, and in the end game, even if you have massive artifact skill bonus and artifact skill, you still need to identify some special items, because the people with artifact skills, they just can't identify them. So Bishop is one of those advanced classes like Ninja. I would say that if you don't have a game plan, for example, in this game it's very important to cast buffs for your party, so if you just want one spellcaster to cast buffs, Bishop is a very great choice in my opinion. And that's pretty much about it. If you want to try something crazy like all Wizardry schools, go ahead and pick a Bishop. Psionic. Now, Psionic in many people's eyes is not very great. Like fearless and mental condition immunity. Yes? Fearless and mental condition immunity, but sorry, something just simply came up. Like fearless and mental condition immunity, it's very useful, but personally I think it's not that useful, because you are not going to be afraid of your psionic going insane and attacking your party members with his bare fists. But still, I find it useful because you can still cast spells while your party is insane, and psionic magic school has also the skill called Sane Mind, which they can cast on other party members to not make them insane. Insanity and other of these debuffs, like you already told me, they are very debilitating, and they have massive penalties in this game, so buffs and debuffs are the way to go in this game, not damaging spells. Also, Psionic has some very good damaging spells, and one of his level 1 spells, it is simply astoundingly great. It's called Mind Stab, and it can make your opponent insane. So you get 2 in 1, you can do damage and you can make your opponent insane. And this is in the mind school, this is one of the things that is kind of exclusive for Psionic. Almost all his damaging spells have some extra debilitating effects. So I think Psionic is also one of the greatest classes in magic casting in the game, and extremely underrated. I would think that if you are a beginner, you should not pick Psionic because he is not that easy to play, but in your second or third playthrough, I would highly recommend you pick up Psionic and see what he can do, because he can do some very nice debilitating debuffs, and he can do some nice damage. And also one of his primary attributes is intelligence, so you are encouraged to pump intelligence to get one of the secret skills, which is called Power Cast, which makes your spells simply more powerful. Next is Mage. Well, Mage, I picked Mage in my first playthrough. It has a special place in my heart. Mage specializes in damaging spells. The problem with damaging spells in this game is that in the late game, enemies have very high magic resistance, up to 100% and higher. So even if you have that, as I called it, power cast skill, your damaging spells, even with something like 80-90 power cast skill, they will not do that much damage unless they're single target spells. And Mage is special with that unlike Alchemist, who has also damaging spells, quite a lot of damaging spells, they are mostly AoE. Mage has many single target spells, so as a class that focuses on damaging spells, Mage is not that bad, but he is not very good at either. But one of the great things about mages is that they get 5% bonus to our resistances. Magic, well, your magic in late game will not be very powerful. The magic of enemies in late game will be very powerful. So any magic resistance you can get, it is very important for you. I would say that you can pick Mage as a beginner, but I would advise against it. And that's all for classes. Now, I don't think I should cover every single race. I think as I go and make my party, I'll explain what each race does best on the get-go. So, about party I'm going to make. As my channel's name is called Lord Great, and I'm basically Lord Great, I decided that I have to pick a Lord, because you know Lord Great, how can I not pick Lord? But then I found that I have an issue to make a balanced party, so I decided that this playthrough, on this Ironman playthrough, I am going to make party entirely of hybrids. So it will not be a balanced party, but it will be a very fun party for me, because I have not tried all hybrids. And with all hybrids, they will get all the same experience multipliers. And so pretty much everyone will level up at the same time, and it will make everything much easier for me. Now, excuse me for a second. Okay, that's better. I have this old VCR monitor that has damaged wiring, and sometimes if I touch it with my foot, it just kind of makes my picture a little bit tinted red, green or blue. I just had to fix my wire. Now, so obviously the first people I'm going to pick is Lord. I'm going to be this Lord. The best Lords are human, because human is balanced in every stats. They have no extra magic resistances. And Lord, as you can see, he needs almost every single stat in the game, except senses and intelligence. That's also one of the big drawbacks with Lords. You need almost every stat in the game to actually be a Lord. For what you need to be a Lord is not that great. Now I'm going to pump Strength. And why Strength? Strength affects any maneuver that requires physical strength, from critting creatures to the damage done. Strength also influences most weapon skills, carrying capacity and stamina. So the most important part here is from hitting creatures. Especially on higher difficulties, it becomes very hard to hit things, hit creatures, hit people, whatever. If you want to hit, you have to pump strength. You need strength. Also, because if you pump strength, you get a hidden skill called Power Strike, which further helps you hit harder and lets you hit things. So if you have any kind of melee warrior or anything like that, you need strength for damage and for hit chance. Also, since I mentioned it earlier, I need piety, because piety is closely tied with divinity skill and divinity magic. And piety is for more spell points, and also on lesser degree stamina, lesser degree than vitality on stamina, and it also affects the rate your skill points increase. I will talk about that later. And dexterity, because dexterity is required for many skills to increase, and dexterity is simply a good stat because it also later lets you get a special skill, reflexation. Oh my god, this is such a hard word. That gives you extra armor class to avoid attacks. Oh, I think in the past games lords could only be male. In this game they can be both male and female. I would choose male. Also, the thing about males and females is that females get some special equipment that's very powerful. So our female party is actually a tiny bit more powerful than if you pick a male party or if you pick a mixed party, but for me it's such a negligent increase in performance that I don't find it so hard to just pick males. Now I'm going to go for Mason Flail, dual wielding Mason Flail Lord. You'll see later why. Actually quite a lot later. Now I have not thought about most portraits and voices and etc, so I will pick these on the get-go. I think this is a very great portrait for a Lord. Obviously he will be Lord, correct? I usually don't make myself in these games, but I felt that for this playthrough I have to make myself. And his nickname shall be Lord.
By my honor, I swear I'll protect you from danger. Don't worry about it.
No, I think kindly voice 1 will be great for this character. And let's add it to a party. The next we are going to make Felpor Samurai. Now, how can you determine that how can you determine that whatever race is best for your class? It's quite simple, by bonus points remaining usually, but not always. And in this case I'm going to pick Felpor, because she gets higher speed and higher intelligence than any other class. She gets some very nice resistance modifiers. That minus 15 resistance modifier to water magic is very negligible, because you can find many things in this game that gives you water resistance. Now I want my samurai to be kind of a spellcaster. So but I also want it to be like warrior mage, something like that. So I will pump in strength, intelligence, and speed. And the first primary attributes I will focus is strength and intelligence. And female. Close combat, dual weapons. This is pretty self-explanatory. Also, you always want to check out what kind of skills affect these, because you know the systems that usual Elder Scrolls games used, like Morrowind, Oblivion and Skyrim, that skills increase by use. Well, Skyrim got this system that is in this game. So I got their system right only in Skyrim, in my opinion. This is very close to Skyrim system, but in how skills by use should be increased, because it's very rewarding. Also, the effect on how much your skills increase is governed by these controlling attributes. So if you have high senses and intelligence, for example, your close combat will increase faster by use, not by just putting points as your level. I hope I explained that correctly. Actually, you know what? I am going to actually go with male. Foolproof because I want this portrait.
Who can make the muddy water clear? Let the water be still, and it will become clear on its own.
Actually, very good voice for this one too. From the get-go, I like it. But maybe I will check some intellectuals.
You're going to need someone of my superior intelligence. Some call it ego, but I call it talent.
I would be honored to assist your brave band in its explorations. That is, I'd like to come along.
Nah. I'll pick voice 2 from Layback. So, what should I name him? I usually make very simplistic nicknames and full names, because I just don't want to name them. You will never see the full name of the character, you will usually just see the nickname. So in the full name I just write whatever, and the nickname I just write something very simplistic that is the main characteristic of the character. And what should I name this one? Boris. He shall be Boris. Sorry guys. Okay, next one I am going to make ninja, because I want all hybrids and elites. And ninja is going to be my lockpicker. And for ninja I am going to pick Hobbit. Well, Hobbit is one of those races that are very good at many classes, because they get very good stat distribution, in my opinion. This 10% resistance to earth is kind of one of the worst resistances, because earth spells are very rare, both for you and for your opponent. But still, it's better than nothing, so hobbits are pretty much great. Also, you can see they make fine rogues, ninjas, samurais, bards, gadgeteers. Game pretty much explains everything that hobbits are great at. They gave you some leeway if you read things in this game. I think I will pick female hobbit. And what am I going to pump? I will going to pump strength, dexterity, and speed. Now, I would really like my hobbit to cast spells, but I have decided that both my alchemist-like characters are not going to cast spells. Well, they are going to cast spells, but they are not going to focus on spellcasting. Now, also I have decided that my hobbit ninja is going to be my locks and traps specialist. Pickpocket is one of those skills that is completely useless in this game. There is like only one special item you can actually pickpocket. Everything else you can pickpocket is kind of assorted junk you can buy in shops anyway. At least I have with over 100 pickpocket, I have never got anything good with multiple tries. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe someone in comments will go like, dude, pickpocket is great skill, you can pickpocket this and this, and I'll be like, holy shit, you can actually do this. But I highly doubt it. Now, what I want for my hobbit is to be very good at throwing and to be good at mace and flail, because I'm going to play with nunchakus in this game. And I hope these will raise by themselves, including dual weapons. Also, if you pick ninjas, you get 2 special portraits, but I'm going to pick a hobbit portrait. That is dwarf, that is elf. I think this is hobbit. Yes, this shall be my Hobbit Ninja. Meridian. And I'm going to make my ninja chaotic.
You looking at me?
Yes, I'm looking at you. I just like love the toys. It's amazing. Next, from hybrids, I'm going to make monk. And the monk I have decided will be human. I kinda forgot why. Maybe because, yes, monks also is one of those classes that require many points in various places. Also, the great thing about human, I think, is that human can wear some armors for monk. That, for example, fairies also make great monks, but fairies can wield very limited armors, and I think that you can wield robes of enchant for monks on human. Correct me if I'm wrong. Obviously strength, because I'm going to focus on melee combat with this character. As I said, psionic spells are very great, but for me personally, for monk, I would rather have a martial arts monk. And obviously the skills you pump stuff in is everything close combat related. Also the stealth skill, if you wish, you can pump in stealth skill, because stealth skill gives you armor class, 1 armor class point per every 10 points, and that is very, very important. But I usually let stealth rise by itself. I shall name her Stillwater. Still War. Okay, that's better. That's better. Still War. War that is still. How many times will I get offered this laid back? I rather want eccentric or burly. I think this will be very fun.
All right then. I'll join you as soon as I finish milking the cows and gelding the bulls.
Yes, I want this one. Let's just imagine this monk was very hardworking. Okay, next one is going to be Monk Ranger. As I said, I'm not going to focus on alchemy spells. And Monk are great in the fact that they're very good at classes that require high intelligence and high senses. As you can see here. They are actually very good at psionics and ranger, because they have those high sense, high intelligence. But they are very, in my opinion, bad spellcasters, because they have very, very low piety, and that means that you get almost no spell points. So for my Mook Ranger, I'm going to use modern weapons, but you get them quite late. So I need dexterity, speed, and senses. And he shall be female, because females just have better portraits for Mook. Also, you cannot put, you can just avoid putting points in scouting. I will put some, just to get that radius range faster. At around 20 mark, I will stop putting points in scouting, and it will raise very quickly by itself. Also, for quite a long time I'm going to use bows, but I'm still starting to put points in modern weapons, just to get it faster. Very appropriate name, at least nickname, in my opinion.
You got it. I'm ready for anything, and I mean anything.
I need something deeper voiced.
Well, well. I wondered when
when you would get around to me. You won't be disappointed.
Yes, I will pick this one. And at last, the Valkyrie. The greatest class in the game. Only women can be Valkyries, and I have decided that my Valkyrie be Ravel, because I'm going to focus on spellcasting with my Valkyrie. So piety and strength it is, and that bit of dexterity. Pole arms, close combat, and now is the hard part, because Valkyries in this department, Valkyries need very little points. So I will put some in ranged combat just in case. And later on we'll just put points here in the magic class skills. Nice portrait, I love this portrait.
Very well. Our enemies shall feel my wrath.
Yeah, this feels appropriate. Now, what should I give her for nickname? Spirit. Sounds appropriate. Now, without the party ready, I shall join you in the next video, where we will begin our great and epic journey on expert Ironman playthrough of this great game. See you later, guys and gals.